Question 1. Topic: Wrongful termination and employee discipline. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a workplace dispute, an HR director at a large corporation discovers that an employee was terminated shortly after filing a complaint about workplace safety violations. The company claims that the termination was based on documented performance issues. However, the employee presents evidence that their performance were consistently positive until the complaint was filed. Which of the following legal principles is most relevant in determining whether this termination was lawful? A. The employment at will doctrine, which allows employers to terminate employees for any reason unless a contract states otherwise. B. The doctrine of constructive discharge, which protects employees who are forced to resign due to intolerable working conditions. C. The anti-retaliation provisions under the Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA, which prohibit employers from terminating employees for reporting workplace safety violations. D. Business judgment rule, which prevents courts from second-guessing an employer's termination decisions as long as they are made in good faith. Answer: C. The anti-retaliation provisions under the Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA, which prohibit employers from terminating employees for reporting workplace safety violations. Explanation: under OSHA's anti-retaliation provisions 29 U.S.C. SS 660-C, it is unlawful for an employer to retaliate against an employee for filing workplace safety complaint. Retaliation can include termination, demotion, harassment, or other adverse employment actions. In this case, the fact that the employee was terminated shortly after filing safety complaint, combined with the evidence of prior positive performance reviews, strongly suggests retaliatory motive. Why not? The employment at will doctrine allows employers to terminate employees for almost any reason, but there are important exceptions, including retaliation protections under OSHA, titlement, and other laws. If termination violates anti-retaliation laws, at will employment does not apply. Why not be? Constructive discharge occurs when an employee is forced to quit due to intolerable working conditions. Here, the employee was terminated outright, making this doctrine inapplicable. Why not D? The business judgment rule generally protects employers' decision-making from court interference, but it does not shield employers from liability when termination violates federal anti-retaliation laws. Question 2. Topic: Wage and hour laws. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a payroll specialist at a retail company notices that assistant managers are classified as exempt from overtime pay under the Fair Labor Standards Act (FLSA). However, several employees report that they primarily perform non-managerial duties such as stocking shelves, operating cash registers, and cleaning the store. If an employee challenges their exempt classification, which factor will be most critical in determining whether they are entitled to overtime pay? A. The job title, because the assistant manager suggests a leadership role and supports the exemption. B. The employee's actual job duties, as courts and the Department of Labor prioritize duties over job titles in determining exemption status. C. The company's internal classification system, since employers have discretion in determining who qualifies as exempt. D. The total number of employees in the company, because exemption rules vary on company size. Answer: B. The employee's actual job duties, as courts and the Department of Labor prioritize duties over job titles in determining exemption status. Explanation: under the FLSA, an employee's exemption status is determined by the duties test, not their job title. The Executive Exemption 29 CFR SS 541.100 requires that an employee's primary duty must be managing the enterprise or department. They must regularly direct at least 2 employees, and they must have authority over hiring, firing, or other personnel decisions. Why not A? Job titles alone are not determinative. Many employers assign managerial titles without giving employees true managerial authority. Courts look at actual work performed. Why not C? Employers cannot simply classify employees as exempt at their discretion. Misclassification can lead to legal liability, including back pay and damages. Why not D? While company size may affect some FLSA provisions, it does not determine whether an individual employee qualifies for an exemption. Question 3. Topic: Immigration and employment law. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, a human resources manager at a tech startup realizes that some employees have expired work authorization documents. The company had properly completed Form I-9 at the time of hiring, but it failed to track expiration dates for employees working on temporary visas. What legal risks does the company face under the Reform and Control Act (ERCA). A. The company is not liable as long as it properly completed the I-9 form at the time of hiring. B. The company may face penalties for failing to re-verify the employment authorization of workers on temporary visas. C. Employees with expired work authorization could continue working as long as they are in the process of renewing their visas. D. The company can avoid liability by allowing employees with expired documents to work under probationary status while awaiting renewal. Answer: B. The company may face penalties for failing to re-verify the employment authorization of workers on temporary visas. Explanation: Under the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986, employers are required to verify the identity and work authorization of all employees using Form I-9. For employees on temporary work visas, employers must track and re-verify their employment authorization with expiration. Failure to do so can result in fines and penalties. Why not? A. Completing Form I-9 at the time of hiring does not absolve an employer from the responsibility of ensuring continued authorization. Employers must re-verify work authorization for employees on temporary visas. Why not? C. Employees cannot continue working once their authorization expires, even if they are in the process of renewing. The employer must suspend employment until new authorization is provided. Why not? D. Allowing employees to work under a probationary status while awaiting renewal violates ERCA rules. Employers must terminate employment if work authorization lapses. Question 4. During a major transformation where existing methods must be re-evaluated to ensure compliance with employment laws, an employer decides to implement an artificial intelligence AI-based hiring system. The system is designed to streamline candidate screening, but concerns arise that the AI may unintentionally result in biased hiring practices. Several candidates file complaints alleging discrimination under federal employment laws. Given the employer's reliance on AI and the potential for algorithmic bias, what legal obligations must the employer meet to avoid liability under employment discrimination laws? A. The employer must demonstrate that the AI system does not screen out protected groups and must ensure compliance with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission (EOC) guidelines. B. Employers using AI-based hiring are automatically immune from discrimination claims if they did not directly program the algorithm. C. As long as the AI system was purchased from third-party vendor, the employer has no liability for discriminatory practices. D. The employer is only required to disclose the use of AI in hiring decisions, but is not responsible for addressing bias. Answer A. The employer must demonstrate that the AI system does not screen out protected groups and must ensure compliance with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission (EOC) guidelines. Explanation: The use of AI in hiring is subject to the same employment discrimination laws as traditional hiring processes. Under Title Roman of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Americans with Disabilities Act (ADA), and the Age Discrimination in Employment Act (ADEA), employers cannot use hiring practices that have a disparate impact on protected groups, even if those practices are unintentional. The EOC has issued guidance stating that employers must monitor AI hiring tools to ensure they do not result in discriminatory outcomes. The fact that the employer did not directly program the AI as suggested in B, or that they purchased the system from a third-party vendor as suggested in C, does not absolve them of liability. Employers must actively audit AI-based hiring practices to detect and prevent bias. Option D is incorrect because disclosure alone does not satisfy legal obligations. Corrective action is necessary if bias is identified. Question 5. While investigating a complicated issue between different business locations, a company discovers that employees in one state are not receiving the same overtime pay benefits as employees in another state, despite performing the same work. Some employees argue that this violates federal wage and hour laws. The employer defends its position by stating that state labor laws differ and that they are only required to meet minimum wage overtime standards under federal law. Which legal principle best determines whether employees have a valid wage claim? A. The employer must comply with the most employee-friendly law, whether it is state or federal. B. The employer only needs to meet the Fair Labor Standards Act (FLSA) requirements and does not need to consider state laws. C. Wage and hour laws are entirely discretionary and an employer can set different rules for employees in different locations. D. As long as the employer provides at least minimum wage, there is no requirement to pay overtime unless specifically required by a written contract. Answer A. The employer must comply with the most employee-friendly law, whether it is state or federal. Explanation. Under the Fair Labor Standards Act (FLSA), employers must comply with both federal and state wage laws. When there is a conflict, the law that provides greater benefits to the employee prevails. Many states have stricter overtime rules than federal law, such as requiring overtime after 8 hours in a single day rather than just exceed 40 hours per week. Employers must evaluate both federal and state regulations and follow the one that is most favorable to the employee. Option B is incorrect because FLSA sets the minimum requirements but does not preempt more favorable state laws. Option C is incorrect because wage and hour laws are not discretionary. They are mandated by federal and state labor statutes. Option D is misleading because overtime pay is not contingent on a written contract. It is statutory requirement in many cases. Question 6. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, an employer in a disaster-stricken region wants to suspend employee wages and benefits temporarily, citing financial hardship. However, employees argue that they still have legal protections under employment laws. What obligations does the employer have regarding wages and benefits in such a situation? A. Employers can suspend wages and benefits indefinitely during an emergency if the financial burden is too high. B. Employees are entitled to pay for work performed, and the employer must comply with wage payment laws unless officially exempted. C. Federal and state labor laws automatically become unenforceable in disaster zones. D. Employers can delay wage payments for up to 6 months during an emergency without legal consequences. Answer. B. Employees are entitled to pay for work performed, and the employer must comply with wage payment laws unless officially exempted. Explanation. Employers cannot unilaterally suspend wages and benefits during an emergency without violating federal and state wage laws. The Fair Labor Standards Act (FLSA) requires that employees be paid for hours worked, and some state laws impose pay frequency requirements. Additionally, on worker adjustment and retraining notification (WARN Act), larger employers must provide 60 days notice before mass layoffs, even in emergencies. Option is incorrect because there is no provision that allows indefinite suspension of wages. Option C is incorrect because labor laws remain in effect even during disaster. Option D is incorrect because delayed wage payments can result in significant penalties, including lawsuits for unpaid wages. Question 7. When implementing backup procedures across various departments to ensure compliance with employment privacy laws, a company discovers that its employee monitoring policies might violate data protection laws. Some employees argue that their electronic communications are being monitored without consent. What are the employer's legal obligations regarding workplace surveillance? A. Employers have an unrestricted right to monitor employee communications on company-owned devices without disclosure. B. Employers must comply with federal and state privacy laws, and employees may have right to be informed about monitoring policies. C. Employees have an absolute right to privacy in all workplace communications, even on company-owned systems. D. The Electronic Communications Privacy Act (ECPA) only applies to devices, so employers can monitor any work-related communication freely. Answer. B. Employers must comply with federal and state privacy laws, and employees may have a right to be informed about monitoring policies. Explanation. Workplace surveillance is governed by the Electronic Communications Privacy Act (ECPA) and state privacy laws. Employers must notify employees if they monitor emails, phone calls, or computer activity, especially if personal communications may be affected. Some states require employee consent, while others permit monitoring if there is a legitimate business interest. Option A is incorrect because unrestricted monitoring without disclosure may violate privacy laws. Option C is incorrect because employees do not have an absolute right to privacy on company-owned systems, but they do have some protections. Option D is incorrect because the ECPA applies to both personal and work-related communications, and employers must comply with notice requirements. Question 8. In a situation where an organization is required to coordinate with multiple government agencies to comply with safety regulations, a company identifies discrepancies between state and federal workplace safety laws. Some employees claim that certain state regulations provide greater protections than federal standards. What legal principle should the company follow in resolving these discrepancies? A. Federal workplace safety laws always take precedence over state laws, and state regulations can be ignored. B. The company must comply with the stricter regulation, whether it is state or federal. C. Employers can choose which regulation to follow based on their business needs. D. Only the Occupational Safety and Health Administration (OSHA) regulations apply, and state laws are irrelevant. Answer: B. The company must comply with the stricter regulation, whether it is state or federal. Explanation: workplace safety is governed by the Occupational Safety and Health Act (OSHA) at the federal level, but many states have state-run OSHA programs with stricter safety requirements employers must comply with, whichever law is most protective of workers. Option is incorrect because states can enforce their own safety laws provided they meet or exceed federal standards. Option C is incorrect because employers do not have discretion to choose compliance based on convenience. Option D is incorrect because state OSHA plans are enforceable, and state agencies can impose additional safety rules. Question 9. During a review of company policies on employee benefits, an employer decides to modify its paid leave policy but does not provide employees with a written notice of the changes. Several employees later claim that they were not aware of the new policy and were denied benefits they previously received. Under employment law, what obligations does the employer have when changing workplace policies? A. Employers must provide clear and timely notice of policy changes to employees, especially those affecting wages, benefits, or working conditions. B. Employers can change policies at any time without informing employees as long as the changes are legal. C. Employees are responsible for keeping track of workplace policies and the employer has no obligation to notify them of changes. D. Once a policy is established, it cannot change without a court order. And so employers must provide clear and timely notice of policy changes to employees, especially those affecting wages, benefits, or working conditions. Explanation: employers are required to inform employees of policy changes that impact wages, benefits, or working conditions. Many states have wage notification laws requiring written notice of changes affecting pay or benefits. Additionally, under the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, significant changes to benefit plans must be disclosed to employees. Option B is incorrect because policy changes affecting wages or benefits must be communicated. Option C is incorrect because employers are responsible for ensuring employees are aware of workplace policies. Option D is incorrect because employers can modify policies, but they must follow legal notification requirements. Question 10. After conducting a complex internal review, a company discovers that a group of employees has been misclassified as independent contractors instead of employees. As a result, they were not provided with overtime pay, workers' compensation, or other employment benefits. The affected workers argue that they were performing the same duties as employees. What legal consequences could the employer face for misclassification? A. The employer may be required to pay back wages, overtime, employment taxes, and penalties for violating labor laws. B. Independent contractor misclassification has no legal consequences since workers agreed to their classification. C. Employers can avoid penalties by simply reclassifying workers moving forward without addressing past wages. D. The Fair Labor Standards Act (FLSA) does not apply to classification disputes, so the employer is only liable under state law. Answer: A. The employer may be required to pay back wages, overtime, employment taxes, and penalties for violating labor laws. Explanation: misclassifying employees as independent contractors can lead to serious legal consequences, including back payment of overtime wages, payroll taxes, and benefits under the Fair Labor Standards Act (FLSA). The Internal Revenue Service (ERS) and state labor agencies can also impose penalties. Unpaid employment taxes. Option B is incorrect because worker agreement does not override legal classification rules. The IRS and the Department of Labor use an economic realities test to determine employment status. Option C is incorrect because past misclassification must be addressed, including back pay and tax liabilities. Option D is incorrect because FLSA directly applies to wage and hour violations, including misclassification cases. Question 11. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in an organization's compliance process, auditors discover that critical safety documentation is not consistently maintained across multiple departments. Some teams follow stringent record-keeping practices, while others rely on informal tracking systems. What is the best course of action for ensuring compliance across all departments? A. Require all departments to use unified documentation system and provide training on proper record-keeping procedures. B. Allow each department to maintain its own system as long as it meets minimum safety requirements. C. Conduct periodic compliance checks but allow departments flexibility in how they maintain records. D. Implement stricter penalties for departments that fail to meet record-keeping standards without additional guidance. Answer A. Require all departments to use a unified documentation system and provide training on proper record-keeping procedures. Explanation. A unified documentation system ensures consistency, accuracy, and compliance across all departments. Standardizing record-keeping reduces errors, enhances accountability, and helps organizations meet legal and safety requirements. Option B is incorrect because lack of standardization can lead to non-compliance and safety risks. Option C is incorrect because periodic checks alone do not ensure proper documentation. Option D is incorrect because penalties alone do not solve the issue without clear guidance and training. Question 12. During a critical transition period where existing processes are being replaced with automated systems, employees raise concerns about job security and training for new technology. How should management address these concerns to ensure a smooth transition? A. Communicate the benefits of automation while providing training and reassignment opportunities for affected employees. B. Proceed with automation without addressing employee concerns to avoid delays. C. Offer financial incentives for employees who choose to leave rather than retraining them. D. Implement the new system immediately and handle resistance on a case-by-case basis. Answer A. Communicate the benefits of automation while providing training and reassignment opportunities for affected employees. Explanation. Addressing employee concerns through clear communication, training, and reassignment ensures a smoother transition and maintains morale. Employees need support and retraining to adapt to technological changes. Option B is incorrect because ignoring concerns increases resistance and turnover. Option C is incorrect because financial incentives do not help with knowledge retention or a skilled workforce. Option D is incorrect because sudden implementation without addressing concerns can lead to operational disruptions. Question 13. In an environment where different components must interact efficiently, a manufacturing company finds that production delays are frequently caused by bottlenecks in the supply chain. Some materials arrive late, while others accumulate due to inconsistent demand forecasting. What is the most effective way to resolve these issues? A. Implement a real-time inventory tracking system and improve coordination with suppliers. B. Increase production to compensate for unpredictable supply chain issues. C. Reduce the variety of materials used in manufacturing to simplify procurement. D. Accept supply chain disruptions as an unavoidable aspect of manufacturing. Answer A. Implement a real-time inventory tracking system and improve coordination with suppliers. Explanation. Real-time inventory tracking and improved supplier coordination enhance visibility and prevent bottlenecks. Option B is incorrect because overproduction can lead to excess inventory and waste. Option C is incorrect because limiting material variety may impact product quality or customization options. Option D is incorrect because supply chain issues can be mitigated with better forecasting and coordination. Question 14. When dealing with a complex system that shows occasional performance failures, a technology company struggles with software crashes that only occur under specific conditions. What is the best approach to diagnosing and resolving the issue? A. Conduct extensive testing under real-world conditions to replicate and identify the root cause. B. Assume that rare crashes are unavoidable and focus on developing workarounds. C. Roll back the most recent updates until the issue disappears. D. Immediately replace the affected software without fully understanding the problem. Answer A. Conduct extensive testing under real-world conditions to replicate and identify the root cause. Explanation. Extensive real-world testing helps identify specific triggers for software crashes, allowing for a targeted solution. Option B is incorrect because ignoring the problem can lead to long-term failures. Option C is incorrect because rolling back updates without analysis does not address the underlying issue. Option D is incorrect because replacing software prematurely is costly and may not resolve the root cause. Question 15. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges must be managed simultaneously, a hospital experiences an unexpected shortage of critical medical supplies during peak demand. What immediate action should the hospital take to ensure patient care is not compromised? A. Implement emergency procurement procedures and coordinate with multiple suppliers to replenish stock. B. Ration existing supplies without looking for alternative solutions. C. Delay non-emergency procedures indefinitely until supplies are restored. D. Reduce staff levels to decrease the demand for supplies. Answer A. Implement emergency procurement procedures and coordinate with multiple suppliers to replenish stock. Explanation. Emergency procurement and coordinating with multiple suppliers help mitigate shortages and maintain patient care. Option B is incorrect because rationing alone does not solve the root problem. Option C is incorrect because indefinite delays can negatively impact patient health. Option D is incorrect because reducing staff does not address supply shortages and could worsen the crisis. Question 16. While investigating a complicated issue between different departments, a company finds that conflicting goals are leading to inefficiencies in resource allocation. What is the best way to align department goals with the company's overall strategy? A. Establish cross-departmental meetings to ensure goals are aligned with the overall company's strategy. B. Allow each department to set its own priorities without requiring alignment. C. Reduce collaboration between departments to avoid conflicts. D. Assign single department to oversee all resource allocation decisions. Answer A. Establish cross-departmental meetings to ensure goals are aligned with the overall company strategy. Explanation. Cross-departmental meetings help ensure that all teams are working toward common strategic objectives. Option B is incorrect because disjointed priorities lead to inefficiencies. Option C is incorrect because reducing collaboration does not resolve conflicts. Option D is incorrect because centralized decision-making may overlook department-specific needs. Question 17. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a city's disaster management team faces communication breakdowns between different response units. What should be the primary focus to improve coordination? A. Implement centralized communication system to ensure real-time information sharing. B. Allow each unit to handle its own response independently. C. Rely on traditional reporting methods and prioritize individual response efforts. D. Wait for the situation to stabilize before improving communication. Answer A. Implement a centralized communication system to ensure real-time information sharing. Explanation. A centralized communication system ensures real-time coordination between response units, improving disaster response effectiveness. Option B is incorrect because independent responses without coordination can lead to delays. Option C is incorrect because traditional methods may be too slow. Option D is incorrect because waiting to improve communication prolongs response times. Question 18. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with practical needs, an engineering firm faces project delays due to strict regulatory compliance. How should the firm balance compliance with project efficiency? A. Work with regulators to find compliant solutions that also improve efficiency. B. Ignore some requirements to keep the project on schedule. C. Delay the project indefinitely to ensure perfect compliance. D. Focus only on practical needs and deal with compliance later. Answer A. Work with regulators to find compliant solutions that also improve efficiency. Explanation. Collaboration with regulators helps achieve both compliance and efficiency. Option B is incorrect because ignoring regulations can result in legal consequences. Option C is incorrect because indefinite delays are not practical. Option D is incorrect because compliance should not be an afterthought. Question 19. When implementing new protocols in a shared environment, employees resist changes to established procedures. What is the best strategy to gain employee buy-in? A. Communicate the benefits of the new protocols and provide training. B. Enforce the new protocols immediately without input from employees. C. Allow employees to continue using old procedures indefinitely. D. Punish employees who resist the changes. Answer A. Communicate the benefits of the new protocols and provide training. Explanation. Clear communication and training help employees understand the benefits of new protocols and increase acceptance. Question 20. During the introduction of new methods where coordination between teams is critical, a company is rolling out a hybrid remote work policy. Some employees prefer fully remote work while others thrive in an office environment. Managers are struggling to maintain team collaboration and productivity across different work styles. What is the most effective approach to ensure a smooth transition? Implement a flexible hybrid model with structured remote work policies and clear communication channels. B. Mandate full-time and office work for all employees. C. Let each employee choose their own work model without any guidelines. D. Rotate employees between remote and office work on a strict schedule. Answer A. Implement a flexible hybrid model with structured remote work policies and clear communication channels. Explanation. As organizations transition to a hybrid remote work model, it is critical to maintain team coordination, productivity, and communication while also accommodating different work preferences. The correct answer A. Implement a flexible hybrid model with structured remote work policies and clear communication channels is the most effective approach because it balances flexibility with structure, ensuring that all employees remain engaged and aligned with company objectives. Question 21. In a scenario where efficiency decreases across multiple departments due to inconsistent workflows, a company notices that different teams follow varied procedures for the same operational tasks. This inconsistency leads to delays, increased costs, and miscommunication between teams. What is the best strategy for addressing this issue and improving overall efficiency? A. Develop and enforce standardized workflows across all departments while providing proper training. B. Allow each department to maintain its own workflow since they have unique operational needs. C. Assign a single team to oversee all workflows and force other departments to follow their methods. D. Reduce the number of teams involved in operational tasks to minimize workflow differences. Answer A. Develop and enforce standardized workflows across all departments while providing proper training. Explanation. Standardizing workflows ensures consistency, reduces inefficiencies, and improves communication across departments. Without clear processes, different teams may work at different speeds, leading to delays, bottlenecks, and confusion. Training employees on standardized procedures also ensures a smoother transition and higher compliance. Option B is incorrect because allowing varied workflows can lead to duplication of work, confusion, and inefficiency. Option C is incorrect because forcing one team's workflow on all departments without adaptation may not fit the unique needs of each unit. Option D is incorrect because reducing the number of teams does not address the root cause of inefficiency and could overburden remaining employees. Question 22. When developing a solution that must address opposing needs in a corporate restructuring, executives struggle to balance cost-cutting measures with employee retention. Layoffs may reduce expenses but could also harm morale and productivity. What is the best approach to balance these conflicting needs? A. Explore alternative cost-saving strategies such as process automation or operational efficiency improvements before considering layoffs. B. Immediately lay off employees in non-critical roles to achieve short-term cost savings. C. Reduce salaries across the board, regardless of employee performance or role. D. Delay all cost-cutting measures and hope financial conditions improve. Answer A. Explore alternative cost-saving strategies such as process automation or operational efficiency improvements before considering layoffs. Explanation. Before implementing layoffs, exploring alternative cost-saving methods such as automation, streamlining operations, and improving efficiency can help preserve jobs while reducing costs. Layoffs should be a last resort because they can lower morale, decrease institutional knowledge, and productivity. Option B is incorrect because focusing only on short-term savings through layoffs may lead to long-term operational problems. Option C is incorrect because salary cuts across the board can lower morale and motivation without addressing inefficiencies. Option D is incorrect because delaying cost-cutting measures without a strategy can worsen financial instability. Question 23. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted by a natural disaster, local authorities struggle to allocate resources effectively. What is the best approach to ensure that aid reaches the most critical areas first? A. Implement a centralized emergency response system that prioritizes aid distribution based on real-time assessments. B. Allocate resources evenly across all affected areas, regardless of severity. C. Wait until more data is available before deploying resources. D. Allow individual response teams to decide how to distribute aid without coordination. Answer A. Implement a centralized emergency response system that prioritizes aid distribution based on real-time assessments. Explanation. A centralized response system helps ensure that aid reaches the most critical areas first, reducing casualties and infrastructure damage. Real-time assessments allow decision-makers to dynamically adjust resources as conditions change. Option B is incorrect because distributing resources evenly may leave the most severely affected areas underserved. Option C is incorrect because delaying response efforts can worsen the crisis and increase casualties. Option D is incorrect because lack of coordination can lead to misallocation of resources and inefficiencies. Question 24. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with practical needs, a manufacturing company must comply with new environmental regulations that increase production costs. What is the best way to align compliance with business sustainability? A. Invest in eco-friendly production methods that align with regulatory standards while improving long-term efficiency. B. Ignore the regulations and continue existing practices to maintain profitability. C. Shift operations to a different region where regulations are less strict. D. Reduce product quality to compensate for the additional costs of compliance. Answer A. Invest in eco-friendly production methods that align with regulatory standards while improving long-term efficiency. Explanation. Investing in eco-friendly production methods can lead to long-term cost savings, increased efficiency, and brand reputation benefits. Compliance with regulations ensures that the company avoids legal risks and remains competitive in environmentally conscious markets. Option B is incorrect because ignoring regulations can result in fines, legal action, and reputational damage. Option C is incorrect because moving operations to another region may introduce new logistical challenges and ethical concerns. Option D is incorrect because lowering product quality can reduce customer satisfaction and harm brand loyalty. Question 25. While examining inconsistencies across various units in a multinational corporation, leadership finds that different regional offices follow different reporting structures, leading to misalignment and confusion. How should leadership address this issue? A. Establish a unified reporting framework that all regional offices must follow while allowing flexibility for local requirements. B. Allow each regional office to maintain its own reporting structure to avoid disruption. C. Impose a single reporting structure without considering local differences. D. Eliminate reporting requirements to simplify operations. Answer A. Establish a unified reporting framework that all regional offices must follow while allowing flexibility for local requirements. Explanation. A unified reporting framework with built-in flexibility ensures consistency in data collection while accommodating local needs. Standardized reporting improves transparency, decision-making, and operational efficiency. Option B is incorrect because allowing inconsistent reporting structures leads to confusion and inefficiency. Option C is incorrect because imposing a rigid structure may overlook important regional differences. Option D is incorrect because eliminating reporting requirements removes accountability and reduces oversight. Question 26. During a major transformation where existing methods must be replaced, a company is shifting from traditional sales strategies to a digital-first approach. What is the best strategy to ensure a smooth transition? A. Provide comprehensive training and phased implementation to help employees adapt. B. Immediately switch to digital sales and discontinue traditional methods. C. Allow only new hires to use digital strategies while keeping existing employees on traditional methods. D. Outsource the entire sales function to a third party to manage the transition. Answer A. Provide comprehensive training and phased implementation to help employees adapt. Explanation. Training and phased implementation allow employees to adjust gradually, reducing resistance and increasing adoption of digital tools. This approach balances change with stability. Option B is incorrect because immediate discontinuation may alienate customers and overwhelm employees. Option C is incorrect because dividing employees into separate methods creates inconsistency and inefficiency. Option D is incorrect because outsourcing may reduce control and company expertise. Question 27. In a multi-location scenario where consistency requirements are crucial, a logistics company struggles with delays due to different warehouse procedures. What is the best way to address this issue? A. Standardize warehouse procedures while integrating real-time tracking systems. B. Allow each warehouse to continue operating independently. C. Centralize all operations into one main location. D. Implement penalties for warehouses that experience delays without addressing the root cause. Answer A. Standardize warehouse procedures while integrating real-time tracking systems. Explanation. Standardized procedures and real-time tracking systems improve coordination and reduce inefficiencies across multiple locations. Option B is incorrect because independent operations create inconsistencies. Option C is incorrect because centralization may not be feasible for logistics networks. Option D is incorrect because penalties without process improvements do not solve the underlying problem. Question 28. In an environment where different components must interact seamlessly, a company is integrating a new software system with multiple legacy platforms. However, compatibility issues are causing delays and inefficiencies. What is the best approach to ensure a smooth integration? A. Conduct a phased integration process with extensive testing at each stage. B. Replace all legacy systems immediately to ensure full compatibility. C. Allow different departments to use whichever system they prefer. D. Implement a temporary workaround and delay full integration indefinitely. Answer A. Conduct a phased integration process with extensive testing at each stage. Explanation. A phased integration approach with thorough testing ensures that compatibility issues are addressed, gradually minimizing disruptions. Testing at each stage allows early identification of technical conflicts, reducing the risk of system failure. Option B is incorrect because immediate replacement of all legacy systems can be costly and disruptive. Option C is incorrect because allowing different departments to use different systems reduces standardization and efficiency. Option D is incorrect because temporary workarounds without a long-term strategy can create additional technical debt and inefficiencies. Question 29. While managing a hybrid approach where timing issues affect coordination, an international project team faces difficulties due to different time zones and work schedules. Some team members frequently miss deadlines, leading to project delays. What is the best solution? A. Implement a structured scheduling system that accounts for different time zones and establishes clear deadlines. B. Require all team members to work in the same time zone, regardless of their location. C. Allow team members to work completely independently without a structured schedule. D. Set rigid deadlines without considering time zone differences. Answer A. Implement a structured scheduling system that accounts for different time zones and establishes clear deadlines. Explanation. A structured scheduling system ensures that deadlines are realistic and achievable across different time zones. By using collaborative tools, asynchronous communication, and flexible scheduling, teams can work more efficiently without disruptions. Option B is incorrect because forcing all members to work in the same time zone can reduce productivity and employee satisfaction. Option C is incorrect because lack of coordination can lead to misalignment and project delays. Option D is incorrect because rigid deadlines that don't account for time differences create unfair workloads and lower efficiency. Question 30. During the introduction of new methods where coordination between departments is essential, a hospital is implementing an AI-driven patient scheduling system to improve efficiency. However, some departments resist the change, fearing it will disrupt existing workflows. What is the best approach to gain their cooperation? A. Provide hands-on training and involve department leaders in the transition process. B. Force all departments to adopt the system immediately without input. C. Allow only the most tech-savvy departments to implement the system while others continue manual scheduling. D. Delay implementation indefinitely to avoid resistance. Answer A. Provide hands-on training and involve department leaders in the transition process. Explanation. Training and involving department leaders in the transition helps address concerns, build trust, and ensure a smoother implementation. By demonstrating the system's benefits and gradually onboarding departments, resistance can be reduced. Option B is incorrect because forcing adoption without input can create frustration and lower engagement. Option C is incorrect because using two different scheduling methods can cause inefficiencies and inconsistencies. Option D is incorrect because delaying implementation indefinitely prevents the organization from improving efficiency and patient care.